So just without more time to lose, please welcome on stage Mr. Brian Solis. Hello. Thank you for being here with us.
Where do you want me?
Here, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for sticking around.
Yeah, well, just let's start again. Okay. I'm going to do it like, oh, no, wait. That's a surprise, man. It was for your birthday, probably. So it was Brian's birthday yesterday. Please, a round of applause for him. And you love champagne.
I love champagne.
I was told that. Actually,
I think champagne loves me.
So welcome to Paris. You know, it's great to be there for champagne.
Indeed.
Thank you.
In fact, Ben, I think what we should do to have a little bit of fun is if we have extra glasses in the back, we should put some glasses out here for anyone to have to join us.
Oh, yeah. But yes.
If you want a glass, I have a few here, so I'll go down here.
Santé.
Santé. Yeah.
So just raise your hand and then we'll, okay.
Ask your question to Brian through the mobile app. I'm taking only questions from the mobile app, so make sure you ask them. Just 30 seconds to let you know your view on digital transformation and what people never ask you.
Okay. So digital transformation, if you ask 10 people what it is, you'll get 10 different answers. You know, digital transformation at its heart is the evolution or revolution of business models, business processes, business systems, and the technology to support all of this, right? But its biggest opportunity is in philosophy. How do you look at the world? And how is the world different? And therefore, how do you want to compete in it differently? I'll tell you that the biggest mistake that most people make when we talk about digital transformation is we talk about technology.
Yeah.
So technology roadmaps, systems architecture, enterprise architecture, social media, mobile. If I could give you advice to think about digital transformation this way. Some of you are young, some of you are older like me, more mature in age. We know what the world was like to be analog, okay? And then you have millennials who only know the world as digital. Yeah. But they know the world as digital with desktop PCs and old technology that no one uses anymore. And now Generation Z, the younger children today, only know the world in a post-PC experience. So they only know the world from a mobile screen. And what we do today is we make people go through the world as if they were us. Yeah. So it's not a mobile-first design. It's a mobile-only design. And that's a really good place to think about digital transformation. How would you be different?
Yeah, excellent. That's a very good definition for all of us. I think it's also a challenge that everybody would like to apply now that when they get back home in their businesses. Let's start with the question. Eric Mott, what is the first people skill that is required for successful digital transformation initiatives in 2015? The skill set.
I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, tell me.
It takes patience. And it takes this ability to understand that really what you're going to fight for is politics. You're going to fight against politics and tradition and a way of doing things that you're basically telling someone this is not good enough. And you're going to challenge people to think outside of their comfort zone. And people are going to become very protective of the way that things are because there's a fear of change. So my biggest advice is to treat this like a long marathon, like a long race, and not a quick sprint. Because in all of my research on digital transformation, I published 3 reports on it this year. I became a therapist, not an analyst. As I was talking to some of the leaders in digital transformation, I could tell that they were getting tired or exhausted or sad. And I told my research team at the end of the report, I said, we better hurry up and publish this because I think half of them are going to quit. And certainly half of them, 40% of them quit. Really? Because they were frustrated. So if the one advice before you look at anything is to just be ready that this is a long fight. and you're going to need help inside the organization. The last thing is please, please, please don't assume you are the customer or that you are the employee. Really do look at the new journey, the new experience, and reverse engineer it, because it tells you everything you need to know. Where you are, where you're not successful today, and where you need to be.
That connects again, you know, this skill set question with one that we have here from Paul Nathan. Brian, do you think management schools should teach social media strategies in their programs in a specific way?
I didn't. No.
Thank you. Next one.
If you want to know why, it's because social media strategy is, it's a branch of digital transformation. It's just something you do differently, like a mobile-only solution or a mobile-first solution. It's all about purpose, vision, and intention. What value do you bring? And then the channels just bring that alive. I actually would like to see business schools teach students how to be empathetic, more relevant. I'd like to see humanities back in business school, because at the end of the day, we are talking about human beings, and quite honestly, human beings that are very different than us.
I've got one more specific link to an industry, like what are the main points that FMCG and retail industry has to consider to execute a successful digital transformation? Patrick is asking you.
My goodness.
That's a broad one, but let's try to give him a couple of tips.
Yes. I'm kidding. If you're interested, you can just Google my name in digital transformation, and you can have access to the 3 reports for free to download. But the biggest thing that I've learned is that everybody starts in one small place. You can't bring about change overnight around the entire organization. Where most businesses find success is by treating a pilot program to do something differently. It's usually something to do with mobile. Starbucks, for example, started with the mobile experience. What should the app be? And if you think about the app for Starbucks, it is everything from being able to purchase coffee with the mobile app, to order coffee, to build your loyalty points. So it crosses over several business segments that, before they invested in this process, did not talk to one another. So they had to form a new group inside Starbucks to be able to address these issues, and it grew from there. And every successful case starts with one pilot.
Excellent, thank you. I've got one tricky question. I'm sure it's very interesting because it's the most popular one. You can vote up and down questions. So where do you see data privacy fitting within data transformation and data ownership?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 3 data, and who really owns your personal data in your model? Sarah Lamb.
Wow, okay.
Is Sarah,
I might need another glass.
Yeah, well, is Sarah in the room? She's not, I mean.
She threw a hand grenade. Yes. Data is a big conversation to have, because no one really owns data today. If you look at CRM, which is a big problem and a big opportunity with digital transformation, there's no champion for it. And data itself, it doesn't tell you anything. It gives you insights if you look for them. But someone has to be the storyteller for how data translates into affecting the entire organization. And there should be someone responsible for making sure those people are taking action around that data. Now, who owns the data in terms of the consumer? The consumer owns the data. We trick the consumer into giving us their information. And as long as they feel a sense of value in return for that data, like personalization, faster service, better products, then they're okay. But if you don't give something back in terms of value, then it becomes a very big problem.
A big challenge. I have another very interesting question from Marolane Nami. Do new players in the different industries, such as Airbnb, Uber, peer-to-peer, necessarily need social media to count and offer a real alternative to existing companies?
So, you know, one of the problems with Uber is, well, there's a lot of problems with Uber, so where do we start? But one of the problems with Uber is that they focused on driver recruitment to build up a supply. And at the same time, they took a lot of their money to invest in lobbyists, to work with governments, to change laws and be able to operate against very corrupt taxi industries, to be honest. But at the same time, they haven't made the equal investment in demand generation. And so one of the biggest complaints of the Uber driver force, wherever it is that there isn't enough demand. So drivers are having to compete, work longer, work harder for less money. So when you look at the collaborative economy, as my colleague Jeremiah calls it, or the sharing economy, or
the crowd economy,
or the crowd economies, whatever it is, what we're talking about is just the facilitation of people trying to do something, right? It's not the act of getting in the car and going someplace. It's the act of the experience of how easy it is to get the car, the quality of the car, the professionalism of the driver. So what we're really talking about is essentially creating technology that facilitates a better experience. Because, I mean, Paris is different because I actually like the taxis here in Paris, but I live in San Francisco, where I have tried for years to get a taxi to go to meetings. I'll open the door, a taxi, if I could even find one, will say, "Where are you going?" "I'm going here." "Oh, I'm not going that way." And then go. Wait, which way are you going? I'll go anyway.
I'll go with you.
No, I'll go with you. But it's the experience, right? And then technology becomes the facilitation of that. So long way to say social media. Social media, again, is just an enabler of a better business strategy. What are you trying to do? Because what we're looking at with a lot of these new products and markets is the creation of new supply, the creation of new demand and old demand, and the fluctuation between traditional business and new business, right? I don't stop going to hotels, but I do also use Airbnb. Social media, then, your investments should only just enact what are you trying to do. But in Uber's case, for example, they have a social media strategy to tweet, and it's not really demand creation.
Yeah.
It falls short of that. It's impressive, but it's not complete.
Yeah. It was a good question, though. One from Anonymous. Do you anticipate a backlash to too much social?
Is this the real Anonymous?
Oh, he's asking a lot of questions.
I must be careful.
You know? There's a lot of
well, ask me another question.
Okay, moving on. I like this one. Who has... No, this one. You're moving. The one was about, B2B. Oh, yes, this one from GLV. In the B2B environment, what were the main areas for digital transformation?
Do you know, one of the biggest areas that nobody really talks about in B2B is the transformation of the supply chain. But more importantly, who is your customer? Show of hands, how many in the audience are in B2B?
B2B people.
Oh my goodness, that's about half. You're in B2B as well?
Yeah.
Excellent. So one of the biggest opportunities for digital transformation in B2B is to add a C at the end.
Yeah.
Business to business to consumer. So the most effective businesses that are changing at the top of the food chain are having to recognize how their customer's customer is different and work with their business customers to be more competitive. So that means that they have to change inside the organization and they have to help their customers change. Otherwise, they're not going to have customers. And I see this in finance. I see this in manufacturing. Yeah. It's across the board. It's something that not a lot of people talk about, to be honest.
Who's best at it? Who's doing good?
A lot of really interesting plays happening in cargo and transportation, and also finance.
Maersk Line, people like that. Yep. Yeah. There is one that I'm sure you'll be very interested about. It's from Zornitsa Meshkova from eMunicipality. Hi, Brian. Do you have any observation on digital transformation in the public sector?
Oh, well, yes. I guess I'm not allowed to talk about your Minister of Digital, but I would love to see digital transformation in your digital ministry.
Yeah.
Because anyone who comes out and says we have nothing to learn from Silicon Valley means that you're not open to change. We all have something to learn from everyone. And that's really where transformation begins. So yes, in public policy and in government and education, everything needs to change. I want you to think about how a 14-year-old learns, how their brain learns. It is not the way that we learned, right? Everybody says, well, you have to write it down. That makes the mental connection. Yeah. They don't have those muscle skills. They have this. And that's different. And we don't design textbooks, we don't design education systems in this way. Transformation is going to happen everywhere. It's just how fast and who's going to lead it. If I have anything to do with it, we're going to make education, we're going to make government, we're going to make everything better and more useful for real people.
Yeah, you start from the ground, like
Yes, from scratch.
from scratch.
So if I could share one thing with you, because I guess we're out of time.
Yeah.
Question everything. Just because things have been done the way they've always been done does not mean that this is how you're going to lead digital transformation. That's called iteration. When you don't question and start over, true innovation is taking something new and doing something new. And then disruption happens as a result when it gets traction. If it's one bit of advice I leave you with, is that you are more influential than you think. The world needs you to push harder, because if you don't, the world pushes back, and we're not going to change that way. So I ask that each of us, we join each other together to change everything for the better. That's what digital transformation is capable of, is making everything better.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.